phlebitic leg. And it's tragic and sad, this washed up man, walking on the beach. I'm not a crook anymore. I have a phlebitic leg. And, so anyway, so this, which could be construed as a previous politician, there's another form here with nosed right up, jam right up to the side of this nose form with something that one might read as an eye, or certainly does read as an eye. I put a dot in there, so instantly that becomes an eye. Although I don't like to put obvious forms in my work or have them be too obvious. So, but the heavy line around it looks kind of angry.
Is that Pat Nixon?
No, no, but it's like someone going, "What are you doing here?" So I started to contemplate that in this kind of chaotic, foreboding cacophony around the nose. So it became nose in a bad neighborhood. It's like this form is saying, "Get out of here, nose! What are you doing here?" So just a reading, and while you could be stiff and art historical and say, oh, that's like too comic booky and stuff. No, this is 2023. This is the world we live in. And if you feel something, if your art takes you to a certain place, you have to embrace it. And that's where this took me. So it's nose in a bad neighborhood, and maybe that's a nod to someone like Guston. I've seen a lot of Guston's paintings, and they move me, and I've always loved cartoons, and my line is very calligraphic and animated, so it just stands to reason that it might move in that direction, like in that drawing. This one got a little more involved. Again, it's sort of organic swirling. There appeared, there's one of those damn eyes right there, and what could be construed as a beak, and this, which could be construed as a wing. And this is kind of, it's both phallic and totemic at the same time. This form behind, kind of poking through the wing. So seeing all this lugubrious kind of oozing stuff here, this became egg peck, which is the idea of a bird being born and pecking at the egg from the inside, the egg fragmenting, and the wet bird emerging with whatever's left in the egg, the yolk and stuff, and so egg peck. But it's also like life emerging, new life, that sort of thing. And I like that form, and I like the art of the Northwest Coast, which, all of its deities are animals and surrounding them in nature. So I like what they did with their work. The flat pictographic forms and gods, nature gods on the totem poles, and in their weavings and carvings and clothing and everything. So egg peck, survival of the fittest. You saw this one. I had to work a little harder to find a title, but I found one which relates to what I got from it once I made the drawing. But one thing I wanted to do formally, as an artist, you do try to be aware of the medium you're using, and even though you want to let go and let it flow and manifest, you also, you look at something, and although you may not ask yourself verbally about every line you make, you're asking yourself internally. And so I have lines that are hair thin, and lines that are this thick, and lines that are, saturated and emphatic, and others that are dry brushed and scumbled across the hilltops of this heavily textured paper. So I wanted to use this watercolor paper. because it gives you a different quality, particularly if you let the brush dry out and you have less ink. And that becomes like a staccato, softer rhythm. And you know, I also think of these as analogous to music, because line is like music. It moves forward in time. It's a record of the time you were alive while you made that line, just like a line on an oscilloscope that taps into your brainwave or your heartbeat. And I like that idea, the velocity of line being a metaphor for life. We're moving through time, which is what music does. So it became kind of a landscape, and you know, you have all this sort of chaotic movement, and then you kind of orchestrate it, which is, you know, another musical term. You orchestrate it to pull it into shape, to give it a certain logic, and to create a place or a space out of it, or design on paper. And I like it to suggest both a rational landscape space, but also be a flat, abstracted design on a flat piece of paper. So you can enjoy it on both levels, and never be quite certain which level it's in, you know, definitively. So that creates a sense of mystery and elusiveness, or it's poetic. You know, you don't always know exactly what a poem is about. It's suggestive, symbolic, elusive, you know, and elusive as well at times. So anyway, this became, because of this little tendril with a little dot at the end, which somehow I thought, you know, snail eye, you know, the eye on the end of the stalk that retreats when you touch the snail, goes whoop, back into the body of the snail. So I thought of that, and I saw these forms, which are harder and maybe more bone-like, and I thought, it's like a wishbone, like turkey bone. So I kept thinking, ew, but it's of snail and turkey bone. So that became the name of the drawing. And at first I wasn't that comfortable. Who's gonna want a drawing named of snail and turkey bone? You know, that's kind of a, like, push me away sort of title. And yet it's what I observed, and I began to like the rhythm of those words, and that they formed this association that relates to the drawing. Maybe nothing outside of that, but it's like, so now you've kind of justified linking those words together. They have a new sort of poetic meaning together. You know, art kind of drags us to places we may not always want to go, you know. Sometimes we really want to go there. Other times it takes some being open and understanding what manifests, and accepting it and learning from it too. You know, just like life, you know. So that's a snail and turkey bone. And this is another cacophonous space, and with all these forms dancing around, and there's a certain amount of interpenetration of forms going on. And of course that's a sexual metaphor. There are a lot of sexual forms in my drawings. And that's for obvious reasons, because the body is fascinating. We're all human beings. That the generative nature of sexuality, you know, it's something we all love. It gives us pleasure, makes us feel good in our bodies, connects us with others who we love, and it is why and how we're here. And it's a great mystery, you know. And so that generative force is very much found in various places in my work, and I embrace that. So this is a maelstrom with this cacophony of forms, and there's this one form that I told that lovely young woman who was interviewing us before the reception. This is kind of, it almost looks like a figure skating away, but these appendages are pointed like petals, and it's like a star. like a skating, a star, like a star, you know, conventional star shape, dancing away. And it reminded me that when I was a kid, I had a little stuffed star, a stuffed animal, with a little face drawn on the uppermost point, little 2 dots for eyes and a little like smile for a mouth. And so I'm thinking about this drawing, and this is like a maelstrom, and I love the sound of that word. The sound of words, too, are like music, you know? That, just the sound of the words, making those shapes and hearing them. So then I thought, well, maelstrom and star, you know, skating star? No. So it became twinkle stars, like twinkle, twinkle, little star. A reference to my childhood. It became twinkle stars maelstrom. And there it is. So, you know, these things come out of what manifests, you know, and you make your peace with them and find a happy place to relate to them, or a place of understanding and enjoyment, and you hope that other people share that. And you hope that it's different for everyone who looks at it, too. And that they may see some things that they like, but they may also see some things that they just don't understand, and puzzle them, and they go back to again and again, because that's how we learn, and that's how we grow. And it also bespeaks a place of mystery. We don't know what's out there. We don't know what came before we were here. We don't know what will come after us, although we certainly seem to be pushing ourselves toward whatever that's going to be. So
Right.
that's it's something.
Thank you, Marc. By the way, there really is a maelstrom off the coast of Norway that actually Edgar Allan Poe wrote a story about it, of ships being caught in this whirlpool. If they get too close, and they're just gone. They just
Right, like the Bermuda Triangle.
yeah, but a real a tidal maelstrom. Yeah,
Interesting.
very dangerous. So thank you, everybody, for coming. Great. Any more questions before we close?
There are two tools that I used here. They're both brush pens. One is I think it was called a Pigma Sumi pen. And that one, and the one on the end, we're done with that. And that has it's a double-ended pen, rigid pen, with 2 points. One is finer, the other's a little broader. They are porous rubber tips, points, and they're flexible. So there's a barrel full of ink, and so when you flex the point, you get a broader line. And then the other one is a detailed brush pen, which is wonderful. They're a nylon brush, flexible vinyl barrel. You squeeze the barrel, it sinks it into the tip.